So when I was growing up, my mother used to tell me, never say I told you so. All it does is make others feel bad, and it doesn't do any good for you. And they already know what you're going to say, and they already know that you knew. So to say I told you so doesn't do much good for anybody. And in this case, with RedWire, you already know, you know what's going on. RedWire is up 30% today. When it comes to this gain here, to $14.55, they peaked out here in a massive move after a $155 billion deal. So RedWire is no longer just a space tech company. They've actually meticulously managed to build a defense powerhouse that the market is finally beginning to price correctly. We've talked about some of the movement in this stock as retail investors were a little more on the speculative side, but we had some projections up into that $12 to $15 range when they were down here around this level here around $5 a share. But they just signed a Shield contract. It's a Golden Dome missile contract, and now their current backlog has increased to over 355 million. So they actually are building a moat now. And here's the deal. When we're doing analysis on RedWire and we were able to catch this on the long-term investments, we were in it, focused on it this morning in our live session. Most investors, they think to make more money, they need to watch more tickers. And I used to do the same thing. I would add so many different stocks. And I had a rock solid system that worked really well for about 5 stocks. But then when I added 10 stocks, 20 stocks, suddenly my system, it wasn't that it just bent, it completely shattered. I was missing moves on absolute winners. You could look at, RedWire as in the past, I might have missed this move because we'd be focused on too many things, and we missed this $151 billion defense contract simply because I didn't have enough eyes on the market. And I was working really hard. My returns were getting smaller, and I was human. The market, it's a machine. So in order to keep up with it, I built this machine. I realized that I couldn't out hustle the market. So I put together this AI prophecy app that has Grok, OpenAI, Claude, and Gemini built into prophecy. And we took the exact logic, about a 21-step process that goes through the markets, the analysis of the financials, the news, and the charts, and put in the risk to reward ratio so that it automatically can do the analysis for me so I don't miss moves. And we can see that this system integrates completely. And we got some projections continuing with RedWire, continuing up here, according to Grok at least, that RedWire is expected to reach up to $20 here into 2026. Now, this is a pretty big shift, right? We might even see some corrections. As you can see, it is anticipating some slight pullbacks here into the next few hours, as you could look at the overbought RSI, the overbought MACD. So some of the technicals pointing that way, but the fundamentals still putting positive momentum on the stock. So they got some positive projections into the next week, next 3 months. Things are looking pretty bullish. And so if you want to grab Prophecy AI, get your hands on this system and start building your analysis the same way I do it, feel free to go grab it in the first link in the description down below. Or if you got questions, you want to talk with me or a team member, you can always hit the second link in the description down below. So when it comes to the RedWire move that we saw today, big time change for them. We knew that they had some contracts related to the $1.1 billion equity they had built up. That was part of that was a $2.7 billion deal that they had a piece of. So they were growing, they were getting multi-billion dollar deals, but their market cap was still only a couple hundred million. Now recently, they jumped to over $1 billion in market cap, which was good because their equity's already at $1 billion. And we were anticipating for them to get up into about 1.5 billion to 2 billion. Today, they are already at $2.3 billion in market cap because once again, this $151 billion contract looks really good. So this actually drove the market in general. RedWire is up 30%. Black Sky went up 10%. Lunar is up 9%. The whole macros of the space tech market had a very positive impact, kind of similar to when we saw, Rocket Lab come out with a really big contract and the whole market surged about 2 weeks ago when Rocket Lab touched up to nearly $100 a share. I think they actually broke 100, did they? $99.58. So this is really common. It happens a lot when you see the whole market surge. And now some people might look at the space tech market and they might not understand why. But again, when you look at the news from RedWire, they now are part of this missile defense agency for scalable homeland innovative enterprise layer defense. It stands for SHIELD. Indefinite delivery, meaning an IDIQ contract. So we don't know exactly how much it's going to be, but we do know that the contract has a ceiling of $151 billion. This contract encompasses a broad range of work areas that allows for the rapid delivery of innovative capabilities to the warfighter with increased speed and agility. So not only do they have the satellites, in fact, they also have some tech that goes on satellites. I was kind of a little, when you get into a conference, you're like, I just need to have a coffee. They had a happy hour at RedWire when I went to a space conference over in Denver or in Colorado Springs this last year. And I remember I was like, I'm just going to go because I need to meet some people and I'm not really talking with anybody. And I got to go meet RedWire. And I got to meet their partners as well. And some of their partners include Air Force Research Laboratory and NASA and some other large companies they work with, including Big Bear AI. I think they might even have a Palantir thing going on with their satellite imagery. But one thing they talked about that was really innovative was that RedWire was a little bit ahead. They were starting to develop these very high quality imagery satellite components that could, rather than do LiDAR, which bounces back and in space, it's very inaccurate because everything's moving, right? You got the planets moving, you got the things moving around you. So if it's going to bounce back, it's not going to bounce back very accurately with LiDAR because of the space in between the two objects. So LiDAR wasn't working too well, but companies spent billions putting it up in space. But RedWire was doing these very, very high def cameras that they're working on. I thought that was really interesting. So you pair that with some of their recent missile tech and their defense space, along with opening up a new manufacturing plant over in Albuquerque, I believe it is, New Mexico. And they have the infrastructure to scale. And so as a result, they are selected here for this national security mission, again, up to 151 billion. What does this mean for them? Well, for example, they're already in a $2.7 billion contract. They got 1/14 of as a prime contractor. And that may increase their revenues. But now they're in a $151 billion contract. And if they get some pieces of this, let's say in the $1 billion to a couple billion, their backlog's already nearly 400 million. And they're at 2.3 billion in market cap with $1 billion in equity. I don't know if that goes over anybody's head because I said it pretty quick. But what you need to know is that they have more cash, much more capital than they have liabilities, so very healthy. They have increasing revenues by double digits year over year. In fact, their revenue's up 50% in this last quarter, so doing 100 million a quarter. Comparable companies that are doing 100 million a quarter or just above would be like Rocket Lab. They're much smaller and they aren't launching their own rockets, but they could get a piece of a market. They could put their market cap into $4 billion to $5 billion. Now, what would it be at that level? Well, we're looking at the current outlook on RedWire as of currently. You see they're in a consistent uptrend. Prophecy AI anticipating a little bit of a pullback with the nearest support level being this previous resistance at 1350. So the short term now is indicating that they have potentially a previous resistance at 1350, which they're breaking out above this very consistent uptrend. Now we were looking for this move, to get to where they are today and a little bit higher over the course of almost 2 months is what I was anticipating. They did it in 1 day today because of this new deal that came out. And that's still, they have this, but the new deal, but they also have some of the buildup from the previous contracts, which is why even before this deal, we were anticipating they were going to get up to that $14 to $15 range. And so now that they're at $14 today, with some of the backlog already huge, we have some potentially really good news for RedWire. As they pull down to $4 a share, and we were investing in them and covering them quite often back in November and to December, they've now had a very consistent uptrend, and they're now targeting up to about $20 a share. $20 would be the next level of serious resistance, and then from there they have a resistance level around $25 to $30. So you can kind of see this level here that they established back in January of 2025. And when they ran up last time to these levels, it happened really quickly. Now, in the run-ups, there was some volatility of about 10 to 15% swings down, but they continually ran up from $4 to $5 where they were just a few moments ago up to this $20 range. Last year, twice they did it. They did it in January and they did it in June, except back then they had less fundamentals in the news and the products that we kind of have gone over here working in their favor. They've had some acquisitions since then. They've had some new contracts with US and allied forces, and they've also built out their systems for not just the space tech, but like I said, the missile systems and the defense tech as well, which is a nice combination to have. I don't know if you guys remember with 3i Atlas, but as 3i Atlas came by, everybody's saying, if a asteroid was coming to Earth, could we blow it up? They'd ask Elon Musk. He said, we might figure something out, but it would be highly risky, and the answer is probably not. But we're getting close. And so this is the US saying, hey, we got to get closer, because what if something like that happens? Let's build out some more tech. And also, aside from that little extra hype with 3i Atlas that we didn't really talk about on the channel, but I know there's a lot of hype things going on about that, is that you still have defense against China, you got Russia, you got the potential conflicts that could emerge as a result of recent conflicts. And so right now, simply put, they got a resistance at $19. That's a still 75% potential for them to kind of break above. We could see them get up into these levels and watch those high levels here up into these ranges. Now, once again, they're at a resistance. RSI, MACD holding above 14. But watch that 1350. If they break below 1350, now you're looking at a potential correction back down in this overall still very bullish trend that we've seen over the last 2 weeks. So we're going to watch, see if any opportunities present themselves on the short term. Continue to hold the long term, as we do like we like this play over here on RedWire, and we're going to keep you updated here on the channel. If you have any comments on RedWire, leave them below. And then also, if you want to get some of these projections that have allowed us to uncover companies like RedWire and Prophecy AI, it's going to be the first link in the description below. And also, on top of that, if you do want to grab a free profit plan, it's AI generated, so it actually requires you to enter all of your goals and where you're going. And then I've taken the database of everything that I follow. So things like the markets I follow, you have all these different markets, right? And all the sub stocks and everything else. And I've put it into the knowledge base of the AI, similar to how we've done it on Prophecy AI. And if you go fill out this form, it's going to be the third link below. It will actually give you a custom profit plan with the best stocks tailored to your goals. So if that's something that sounds good to you to help you kind of optimize your portfolio, then I would encourage you to have a look at the third link below. Also have the option there, if you'd like to have a call with me, and we can come in and potentially optimize your portfolio for where it's at right now. Nevertheless, we had a good day so far, 2% up in the portfolio. I hope you guys have a green day as well, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.